Junior's Empire, aka the Skyblock behemoth, an island that is so big that even 32 chunk render distance can't load in the entire island. Over the course of 5 years and between two builders, this island has evolved into one of the largest Skyblock islands that I know of. The island's original bounds, or what ItsJerryandHarry Skyblock server would allow, is this border right here. So where this giant mass is erected from the rest of the flat area out here, that was the original island boundaries. That's all that we could build. And it stretched out to over right here onto this wall, and then down over here along the stretch of River of Inferno Ash. I apologize for the lag. I don't have that good of a computer, and there's a lot of resources being consumed right now. This is a big island. And then it stopped right here. That was the original island bounds. And then it went down to the bottom. And it was a giant rectangle. Why the heck are you trying to shut down? I'm talking into you right now, you stupid headset. This right here, the walls, that was the original island boundaries. And then in 2019, after Skyblock had reset and they updated that server, I downloaded their Skyblock world. Server? What would you call that? And then the 2019 expansion of Junior's Empire happened. And then my creative process kind of had a, shall we say, explosion? I expanded the island out this far, and over in Inferno Ash, it's actually kind of uneven. So where the rest of the island looks like a top, and it's kind of satisfying to look at, you know, it's like an upside down pyramid. That's what I originally called it. It looks fine because it seamlessly just collides into the walls down here. But over in Inferno Ash, wherever that may be, I guess this is half Inferno Ash and half whatever else kind of part of the country is up there. It doesn't really transition that well. And that's entirely my fault. I don't remember why I built that like that. If it was intentional, and if it wasn't intentional, well, I mean, the core wasn't intentional. That turned out alright, so that never mind. It bothers my OCD too much that it doesn't transition properly. I'm sorry. I don't think we have this named as a district yet. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's an official name for it. Right here is the Juniors Academy, so it could be the school district. But there's also the, what do you call that? The tax, the people who hunt you down when you don't pay your bills. That's what that building is right there. And then that over there, I think, is a honey processing plant for Buzz's bees, which is being processed down in the Corlin neighborhood. That's a farm house for the people who are farming. That's a meat processing plant. This is actually one of my favorite buildings on the island, just the way that it looks, and it has a little bit of an overhang, which I also like. It looks very medieval. I enjoy it. I think it's the Iser meat processing plant. And then we have the Inferno Ash Special Forces headquarters, which is kind of out of place. This is a very weird district. The main eyesore of the island is the core. The core was actually an accident, like you. Back in 2016, we had made these giant jungle trees, and there were 2 of them right here. And we wanted to get rid of them. So what Ryan and I did is we poured lava over them. And then we found out that there's no fire tick in Skyblock, or at least there wasn't. I haven't been on Skyblock since it reset because I don't care for the new server. So after we realized that, we poured water over the lava, which, if you've played Minecraft, you know that creates cobblestone. And it created a trickle effect all the way down to the base of the island. Actually, that's a lie. It went further down than the base of the island, because I consider this level right here to be the base of the island. It goes all the way down to the very, very bottom. This right here is the underside of the core, and that right there is the core heart. That is the core of a star that supernovaed or some. I don't remember the entire lore, and I wasn't good in astrology, so this island is completely like based off of science fiction lore stuff. That's why it's still a thing, because it has a storyline behind it, and I enjoy creating more of the story while building on here. But it is the main life source of the entire island, and it goes down all the way to the bottom. So under here, there's nothing. It's just space. Actually, there is some stuff. If I can fall through here without dying. Okay, we're fine. So under here, we couldn't actually build in... Hold on, let me get some night vision. So under here, we couldn't build on Skyblock. Whenever I say Junior's Empire, the island, I usually mean to the Skyblock server. I have never gotten over that mistake. We couldn't build under here, but for some reason the core expanded all the way down to here. So actually the bottom of the world building limits, or the island building limits, was right here. This giant floor right there. But some stuff did leak down, and then after it was transferred onto a realm in 2019, we can build down to right here, I think is the actual limit. So the other stuff that is just kind of drooping down here is probably just cobblestone boxes holding redstone stuff. Dang it. There we go. It's very hard to build without a crosshair, because there is quite a bit of redstone utilities that happen under here, such as the gates for Levosman Kingdom, which actually was Levosman's Kingdom, but I like Levosman Kingdom better. And this right here is his castle. I know it looks extremely weird and not built by a professional at all, which goes for a lot of the island. A lot of the stuff is very simplistic built. It's not too extravagant, but I mean, I did the best I could, so there's that. So the rest of the island was actually built around the core. I mean, the core was... We couldn't get rid of it without deleting the island, really. So we just went along with it, and we said that it was the life source of the island. So it gives heat, it gives oxygen. It has a protective shield on the outside of the island. So if there's a meteor, what is it called? Asteroid belt that the island would run into while floating out in space, it doesn't damage the glass barrier, because it would just get KMT'd, which is Kinetic Molecular Transporter, so it would get transported into the heart of the core, thus giving the core more power, and it's an endless cycle, kind of. But the core has to be regulated, otherwise it would explode, and then everybody on the island would be dead. This big old white beacon over in the corner here is the Empire Building, and it was named that reason because... Junior's Empire, not because of the Empire State Building, even though it does resemble that quite a bit, actually. It's the church of the island, pretty much, or at least the biggest form of the church. There is another church down in Corlin neighborhood, but it's pretty small. It actually looks like a more uniform church. This kind of looks like a skyscraper, because it is. And then we have a hospital right here, which has been updated a couple times over the years. The sheriff's department next to the Barnhouse Grocery, which I think is the only... Oh, no, that's not true. There is another grocery store on the island that is down in the, I think below the Corlin neighborhood, which is not in Levosman's Kingdom, even though Levosman's Kingdom takes up a lot of space down there. There isn't a separate district name there, which I should probably fix so it's not as confusing. And then we got Ryan's house right here, which is the co-CEO. He's the other member of the island who has also built up stuff on the island over the past 5 years. And this is my house right here, which has a couple unique features in it. It has a getaway tunnel that goes underneath of the entire town, which a lot of people have those getaway tunnels, but mine is a bit more discreet. We have the Radioactive Records Arena right here, which is a concert, and those floors do light up. However, I don't want to turn them on because I'm only getting max 30 frames a second right now, and I don't want to tank my frame rate anymore if I can help it. This is the Sky Zone, which I think... No, that's copyrighted. This is the Slime Time? Yeah, Slime Time Bounce House, which is kind of like a Sky Zone because I never got to go to a Sky Zone, so I made my own in Minecraft. And then this is a roller coaster hut, which connects to the roller coaster that Ryan made, which that thing is extremely extravagant and unnecessarily complicated. But it's a fun ride. We have the lookout tower right here, which allows snipers to shoot any intruders who may come through the border checkpoint right here, which that's what you have to go through. You have to go through customs after you're KMT'd from Earth to the island. So that's how people get transported from this island back to Earth. They get teleported across the galaxy, or solar system, or universe? One of the three. This little tiny town up here is Ashtonburg, and I think most of the residents are in that building right there. It also holds the entire island's, well, not the entire island's, most of the island's water supply, and it has a KMT, wait, no, it has something to do with the KMT, I can't remember what I called it, but this splits the molecules and like doubles the water, and it's not accurate at all. It's science fiction, but it works for the island because where else would we get water? I mean, the core creates its own weather system, and it does rain on the island, but where else would we get it? This big old tower in the middle of the island right here is called the Guardian Tower. It was made as a homage towards the Twin Towers. So back in the previous island that Ryan and I were on, which was on somebody else's Skyblock island, we created a giant skyscraper, and then that island was deleted, so we made another Guardian Tower to, pay an homage to all the lives that were lost on 9/11. This here is the Junior Academy, I think is what it was called. It's the school that's on the island. This here is the courthouse, and it's called that because it represents the courthouse in Bonners Ferry, Idaho. However, it's also connected to the core. So it's the core house, not the courthouse. It's just a pun calling it the core house originally because it looked like the courthouse. But then the core expanded and it became a part of the core. So it worked out. This is kind of like the White House or the Capitol building of the island. This is where the main meetings happen, where the big decisions happen. This is where the island's officials meet to have important meetings about meetings and stuff. And this is the Junior's debt collector building, which hasn't been decorated on the interior yet. So this is like the bounty hunter HQ that they also collect bounties on Earth, not just on the island. However, there is quite a bit of crime on the island. This right here used to be Hotel Craftifornia until Glacia attacked it and pretty much decimated the entire structure of the building, and then it was turned into the Department of Science. This, a long time ago, was the shop, and also to the left right there was Ryan and mine's house. And we used to do a cactus jump to get into the house because we didn't have fly at the beginning of the island, and we had a shop that sold heads for about 500 a pop, which was a lot for a head back then. Actually, it's a lot for a head, period. And there are two vehicles on the island that have been quote-unquote KMT'd from Earth. However, this right here was a Christmas present from somebody who used to be on the island a few years ago. And then this over here is Deegan Janssen's Coquette and Vetero, or whatever it's called. Oh, I guess I changed the name of it. It's now called the Empire Strafer, which is an homage to Cog Strafer. And this down here is the Cortland neighborhood, aka the suburb area of Junior's Empire. Empire. This big old building right here that stretches all the way down to the bottom is the core store. That was going to be turned into the main store back on the server. However, it wasn't very popular towards the end, so not a lot of stuff was sold there. And we got most of our income from spawners anyway. That's how we accumulated $5 million before the server reset, and then on the day before the server reset, somebody gave me $1 million just for the heck of it, because everything was reset on that server, so none of the money or items would be transferred over. And finally, all of the buildings in the Cortland neighborhood, after about a year of construction, have been completely interior detailed, and there's even a business down here now. That right there is a sewer system. That was built a long time ago. And then down here is the rest of the Lossman's Kingdom. And the lodge area, and then the elders live right there, and there's also some stalls down here with some animals for food and whatnot. There's also horses, because you can't have a medieval style kingdom without horses. I mean, come on. Jumping back to Inferno Ash, over ducked in this little corner right here is the depository, aka the big old bank. And down here has the vault access, which has since been expanded since the 2019 expansion, because the walls were pushed out, so we just extended the vault. And as you can see, there's an end crystal down there, which is very expensive apparently. The island is so big that even at, what is it? Oh, no, that's not the one I want. 32 chunks for render distance, I still can't fit the entire island in my screen. That's how big this island is. And up here is the sky, oh crap, what's it called? The sky neighborhood? Or it's something, I don't remember what I called it. But there's a bridge that goes across it, and the tree house over there, and then my house, and then Ryan's house, and then somebody who used to be on the server but no longer is house, so it's kind of like a guest house right now, but they're fully decorated on the inside, which is nice. However, that one has an open bathroom, which is kind of awkward. It goes straight into the living room. It'd be impossible for me to go over everything on this island in one video, so I just went over the main buildings or the important things on the island, and I still feel like that took a really long time.